These are the people who I want to appeal to. Make those little slips. It happens. You have to have a plan to manage your problems effectively. How are you going to do it? Fall off the horse? Just jump right back on.
And we are back, and it's time for Bruk It Down with Jenny. Good morning.
Good morning, Jenny.
Good morning, Belize.
You know, I love your colors, man.
Yeah.
You're looking lovely.
Thank you.
You know, this is a topic that is dear to everyone, dear to our
Especially
country.
to John.
Yes, I've got my 3 daughters.
You have 3
And,
girls.
I've got 3
Aren't
girls,
you fortunate?
19, 9, and 2.
Wow.
So, you know, just looking
Yes.
at what the topic was going to be, I was like, you know what, this is definitely one dear to me. Raising the girl child, and Jenny is here to tell us all about it.
I'm excited about this, but I got a
I
lot
am
of
too.
flack. I needed to know I got a lot of flack.
Why?
Because everybody was like, well, what about the boys? What about the boys? But I work with boys. I do. I work with boys. And I have nothing against boys. I hope everybody knows this.
Yeah.
But I'll tell you, turn to the next slide. If you
So we're at
educate
slide
a
number 2.
girl, if you educate a girl, you educate a nation because she passes it on to her children. And her children then become empowered. And that's how you do nation building.
Yeah.
We don't want little girls going out there and getting pregnant just because they're not thinking or nobody has taught them anything.
Yeah.
All right. So it's really, really important. But today is International Day of the Girl Child.
And that's why we are going
Yes.
to explain that is why this is our focus for today.
Yes.
It is International Day of the Girl Child, and you're absolutely right. I'm sure someone at home is already rolling their eyes and they'll say, oh, girl empowerment again. But because they exist, I have to have conversations with people like this, not very nice ones, but you know, I love that opening quote. I love it.
Girls empower a nation. We do. When you educate your girls and when you empower your girls, they will then pull the boys along. Okay? Unfortunately, you know, there wasn't a lot of investment and thought that went into a lot of our education. I grew up in an era where we were told, you don't need to go on to 6th form because your brothers, the boy, you will marry and your husband will take care of you. Really? But that's what we were told.
Oh, you were told that growing
Yeah.
up.
Going up.
So what made you break the mold?
I wasn't going to have no man take care of me. I needed to be able to take care of myself.
Yeah.
A question
And,
though, at what point did that mindset change? And I'm asking this because of back in the day, that was always the misconception that your husband must be the one to take care of you. Let's see what he's got to offer. He comes to dad, he speaks to dad and say, this is what I've got to offer, and then I want to marry your daughter. At what point did that change?
I have no idea when it changed here. But I know when we started women's empowerment, you know, when I went to the Navy, they still wanted to treat you like a little servant, make the coffee, do this, do that, initially. But over the years, we started to become empowered. We got educated. We said, no, we're not going to do coffee. I'm here to do your typing. I'm here to do the other, whatever it was that I was trained for. We still need to get to the point where we start encouraging our girls to do what we call traditionally male role jobs. We're not doing that. So a lot of our girls, we're still teaching sewing and teaching them cake making and cake decorating. We need to start teaching our girls these plumbing, the other things, because they can do it. There's what's the fear in teaching them to do it? That's a paternalism, deciding for girls what they can and cannot do. You know, sorry, I'm very passionate about this. I'm very passionate.
I'm gonna really leave John to run with this one because Jenny and I kind of have the same school of thought on this one.
Yeah.
Right?
I joined the U.S. Navy for heaven's sake. You know why I joined? There was a big poster and it had this girl sitting there and she had her thumbs in her pockets and she said, "Gee, I wish I were a man. I joined the U.S. Navy." Because when I joined, we were very few women. In the military, especially in the Navy, and female officers, that was like a rarity. And black female officers, real rarity.
Real rare, yeah.
Wow.
And I was always told by the people, because I went to Florida A&M University, which is a traditionally black school, and I was told there, you have to remember, you need to be 3 times better. you always have to study 3 times harder.
Yeah.
And that was a kind of encouragement I kept getting from the people at the school.
Yeah.
And they say you always need to reach back and pull more girls with you. Always pull more girls with you. And we need to carry that tradition.
Yeah.
Yes, I work with boys, but I always pull girls with me. I will make sure I pull girls
Yeah.
with me. Right? So
Let's
I
get
have
started.
a limited amount of time here, so let's
And she wants to get into it. Let's see.
I really do.
Yeah. You need
The
that?
colors are horrible in this thing.
No, you use that.
So let me just use these
Okay.
instead.
All right, sure.
You can use that if you want.
Go ahead.
Here, you have that.
Uh-huh.
So, in this day of, this is what our girls face, paternalism, people making decisions for you that you have no control over because they just make decisions for you as a girl. As a girl, you're going to get married. As a girl, you're going to do this. As a girl, you're going to do that. Paternalism. Male privilege, you know, where males can do things because they are the ones in power. And if a woman gets into the house or gets into Congress, she gets into
House of Rep.
the House of Rep here, they almost have to dress and behave kind of manly to be able to be taken seriously.
Be able to
Get
gain their
haircuts.
respect
Yeah.
and-
Yeah.
yeah.
And the men already have male privilege, so it doesn't matter for them.
Yeah.
They're going to get what they want any which way. Right. Teen pregnancy. A lot of our girls
Yeah.
are falling into having sex early because we're not sitting with them and seriously talking to them about the importance of that education and how it will uplift them out of whatever circumstance they are facing. You guys who have girl children, please be listening to me, Mr. Man over there.
Uh-huh.
Older men who prey on little
On young
girls.
girls.
And little girls who think that their salvation is in finding this wealthy older man, this perception of wealth that he may have. Right? And then there's all this whole thing now about twerking, using your body as a means of getting what you want. I put twerking, but really and truly it's using
It's the
your body.
hypersexualization
Yes.
of
Girls.
young girls. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
And just little girls who are just growing up too fast. And this is what our girls are facing right now.
Yeah.
Right. So as parents, number one, I've got 12 things here
All right,
that I
let's
want to
go.
get into.
Number one.
Number one, please listen to your girls. Don't keep, when they come home, just ask them a bunch of questions. How was school today? And ask them these closed-ended questions where they give you yes/no answers. Use open-ended
homework?
questions. Use open-ended questions with them. So, baby, tell me about your day today. It's an open-ended question.
Yeah.
Right?
What was your favorite part of your day?
Yes. What was the best part of your day today? Tell me some things about some of the girls in your class or the people in your class. Open-ended questions, but more importantly, listen. Listen when they answer and listen to the body language. You've got to pay attention to what's going on. They may be saying yes, but when you look at their little faces, it's saying no.
Yeah.
I did not have a good day. As a parent, it's important that you are absolutely listening to your child. And if I put listen really, really, really
Yeah, you
big
put
so
it
that you
big,
do
yes.
you do not miss it. Okay? Answer their questions. They ask questions, and sometimes the questions they ask really and truly knocks you off your feet because girls are so smart and they're so intuitive, and they will ask questions that will just, huh? I wasn't ready to answer that yet. I wasn't even expecting you to ask me that question yet. I thought it would be when you come 3 years later.
Can I be honest though? Sometimes it's also because you can't simplify the answer when they ask something. My niece does this to me all the time. She asks something and like I just would say, okay, well maybe you should ask your mom because I don't know how to simplify it for her. And you're right, you're caught off guard by the question.
You are. And they're very intuitive questions, aren't they?
Yeah.
They are so,
Yeah.
little girls are so smart.
Yeah.
You know?
And all kids go through that questioning phase.
Yes.
And I know that it is exhausting. I could imagine as a parent, you get home and are like, why this, why that, why that, why that? And we always heard that, well, because I said so. Or because that's how God made it. Or that's how God wants it.
Right. Answer them.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And take them seriously and answer them.
What Marlene mentioned is the reality right now for most of the parents, especially coming from work. When they ask you a question, you would say the short answer, because I said so, which you're actually taking away from them the ability to have dialogue,
Right.
to have a conversation.
Right.
If they ask you a question, Dad or Mom, why did this happen? give them the rightful answer.
Yes.
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 So we continue on.
And you know,
It builds trust.
I want to tie something in here though, because and especially because we're focusing on girls.
Mm-hmm.
So we know that what we see in women in the workplace oftentimes is that they have a fear of speaking up,
Right.
and they have a fear of asking questions.
Right.
And I think sometimes when you look at or childhood, and this is from boys and girls, we're very much suppressed from asking questions,
Yes.
from probing, from
be seen and not heard.
yeah, from being able
Yes.
to understand the whys. I was a pain as a child for that reason, because I did ask a lot of questions. And there were many people who would say, well, because I said so, or you're not allowed to ask that. But I think that when you think of what happens as you get older, maybe that's when like if you tell your daughter, well, you just don't ask me any questions, just do it. Imagine her as an adult being told the same. In the workplace,
Yeah.
if she's a public officer being told to do corrupt stuff, and she's told the very same thing, just do what I say.
Just do what I say. And when we put them in a do what I say situation, we're actually building them to be praised. They're not able to speak up for themselves, so they become a prey. Somebody see them, that's a prey. You know, so things like this, and I'd like for parents to be much more cognizant of, and this is the reason why we have conversations like this.
It's you know, we grew up in again, I don't know if parents are still doing this, but we were be seen but not heard.
Yeah.
Don't get into adult conversations. Stop asking me why. And we, you know, they answer the question, you'll say, but why does that happen? I don't understand. You know, why does God make good people die? Why do good people get killed? They will ask you all these questions. Please sit down, take the time to answer them to the best of your ability. And if you don't know, say, you know what, I don't know, baby, but I'll find out the answer. It is no shame in saying, I will find out the answer. But start young. Answer your children from very young so that they become what we call precocious. That's okay to be precocious, because it means that this is a child who was allowed to ask questions, who later on in life is going to question when people tell them to do stuff that they know is not correct or is wrong to do. They will question it. We build that in them, okay?
Yeah.
Answer their questions. They begin to trust you, so they begin to trust that it's okay to ask.
Okay.
Okay. Number 3, it's important to demonstrate self-care.
Yeah.
Okay, you need to model it. Remember, parents, we are the first teachers. So we need to model self-care. We can, if we walk around being a workaholic, we're not taking care of ourselves. Our children are watching us.
They're watching.
They're going to do exactly what they see you model. All right, very important that you do it. And self-care is mandatory for survival.
Yeah.
If we don't take time to de-stress and to let go of some of this stuff, we eventually get ill.
Yeah.
And stress can kill you, by the way.
And we see this very often with single moms.
Yes.
Because they have so much that they have
So
to
much
do
is on
to
the
cater
plate.
for the children.
Yeah.
I mean, you see them, they're completely frazzled, they don't take care of themselves
Yes.
because they've taken such good care. And if you tell them, they're like, oh, I can't do anything or buy anything for me because I got to take care of my child. But then what are the kids learning?
What are
about
they learning?
taking care of yourself as a parent?
Also, we in some cases we tend to start building narcissists if we're not careful.
Yeah.
Especially like a lot of women, we want to take care of our boy children because the boys are going to bring the money in. We totally forget that girls can bring in money too.
As well.
Right?
Wow.
This one, faith. We need to talk about faith, and we need
Okay.
to talk about God, spirituality.
Yeah.
I don't want to, because I know there are Christians out there, but there are lots of other religions out there. So when I say faith and I talk about God, I'm also talking about spirituality. I'm talking about
Whatever you subscribe
whatever
to.
your
Yes.
conception of God is.
Yeah.
Right. So faith is belief in things not yet seen.
Yeah.
And we need to teach our children about that, right?
Why is this important, Jenny?
Children need something to believe in. All children. We need something to believe in.
Yeah.
We need to have faith that there's something bigger than ourselves that we can depend on. Okay? Very important.
Yeah.
Our concept, or whatever our concept of God is.
Yeah.
Okay. What
Teach
to
them
say?
teach them to save.
Teach them to save. It's so important. That is so important. I was a little small child. They took us to the credit union. We had an uncle who used to be out on a ship, and they took us to the credit union whenever he'd give us money, and we put our little money in. It wasn't credit union at the time. It used to be cooperatives on Amara Avenue. But you take your little money and you put it away. And we learned that whenever you got money, you could get a quarter of it, but the rest of it went into savings.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Teach them early. They will not depart from it.
Saving is a
saving is
behavior.
a learned behavior.
So what's your response if somebody would say, you know what, you're only talking to a selected few. It's not everybody that is able to save. How do you respond to that?
Everybody needs to save. You take 10% and pay yourself first. Pay yourself first. 10%. Put that 10% into savings.
Yeah.
Because when you get older, you will need that money.
Yeah.
Put it in there.
It's a shift in perception. It's
It
not
is.
that you can't, and I know that's a hard thing for people to believe, but okay, if you don't buy the junk food that you did, or if you made a sandwich, instead of buying one meal, you can save $10, and just $10 a week.
Yep.
So saving-
if you put 10% of your paycheck away, you are paying yourself. That's what you're doing. But teach little kids very early to take and put that portion in savings.
You know, and I'd like, just to add on it, I'd like for parents to know as well that saving can become that ultimate style. It could become that, just like that pants that you're wearing, because it's the style. Teach the child that saving is a style. And once you've got that style, it'll always be in style.
Yeah, it will be.
Yeah.
We learn very, very early.
Yeah.
Very early, and we need to go back to that.
No,
Because
I
our
see this
parents used to
clearly.
do it,
I
and-
see people who have great saving practices, like it's just automatic for them. They started when they were young. The parents encouraged it when they were young.
When they were young.
And people who didn't have parents that encourage it, it's reconstructing the brain to understand that you need to and you can and you must.
Yeah.
This next one coming up is a favorite of mine because I love to see a facial expression when you share your story with them. A family story, something that happened all the way back.
Yes.
My wife would say, okay, back in Benke, we used to do this, and I would counter that and tell them, well, in PG, we used to do this. Then the facial expression would be like, and that's healthy.
It is very healthy.
Yeah.
Very, very. Just one more thing before we run off on the savings. Have a little jar. Have a jar. Each one of them.
No, we have a few.
I put this little picture up here because that's what we used to do too.
Yeah.
We'd put our little money inside the little jars and just hold on to it, and then you go to the credit union once a month and put your money away. Have the kids. It's a healthy practice to do.
It
Okay.
is. And then,
Your story, though, it's so important that they learn about their history, their past. Sit with them and share that information.
Yes.
And do it in a way, that you all sit around together and it becomes a family thing that they will cherish, especially later on.
Yeah.
We have families that they don't tell their children anything, and you ask them, I don't know anything about my daddy, I don't know anything about my grandmother, I know nothing. And it's sad to hear.
Yeah.
So as parents, it's so important to pass on the family information to the children and do it in a healthy and happy way.
but Jenny, some folks would say, you know what, I don't want to share my past with my children because we grew up hard. How do you?
But that's important to let them know how hard you grew up. You don't want to beat them with it, but the point is let them know how hard it was, because then they can always look back and see from where they came. I know in the South, and I lived in the South a lot of years in the military, in the South, a lot of those people, they came from slaves. I mean, they actually came from slaves. Nobody knew how to read, nobody knew how to write, and here they are now and they have a doctorate. It's a story that they can tell, and later on they write books, they can share it with their children. Very important to pass on the story.
All right.
Okay. 7, stop micromanaging the children. We micromanage. We tend to want, and especially our Belizean families, we want to tell the picnic what for everything. We tell them everything. We don't allow them to make decisions, simple little things like, Mommy, I want to wear the pink dress today. No, you want to wear yellow. But Mommy, I want to wear pink.
Little color pum pum day.
Yeah.
So you have to
we
wear that color.
micromanage them, give them choices. Let the child look and make some choices about what they want to do. Make some decisions for themselves. And I know there are mothers out there going, you must be crazy, Jenny. I know you crazy. It's just the little things to let the child start making some little decisions for themselves.
You see, I'm laughing because I have a sister who has a 2-year-old in this very same sin. And we do that, we allow her, but it's so funny because now, it's only what she wants to wear. And she's found every excuse if something else is picked out. This one's too big. This one, no work. Or until she gets the one she wants. But my question is, we do it. But why is it important? What does it do when children are making choices for themselves, and especially girls are making choices for themselves from a very early age? What is that building in them?
It is building self-esteem. It is also building the whole idea of when later on in life somebody comes along and tells them you have to do this or you have to do that. They can sit there and make choices for themselves.
Yeah.
They meet men. They will look and they will decide, nah, I can already tell that you're not going to be healthy for me. They've known this from very young, how to decide between things.
Yeah.
It
So they're
builds
learning decision-making
confidence,
skills.
decision-making, confidence.
Yes.
Okay. Your little niece, I love her because she knows how to make her little decisions very early, and she'll tell you no.
Yeah.
And she'll say
She'll
no.
tell you, no, thank you.
Yes. Okay, so it's so important. We want all little children to be able to do that. And people say they're precocious. Okay, so precocious is very healthy.
Of
Yeah.
course, it is.
Very healthy.
All right.
And so what you're saying is in lessening the micromanaging, it means that you do give them a certain level of freedom, but it has to be age appropriate, right?
Age appropriate.
Yeah.
And I'm talking
So it's not like go find your own lunch in the fridge.
No. I'm talking about little things like some dress, what I'm going to wear today.
Yeah.
Or can I wear those shoes instead of those shoes? And
it doesn't have to match. Don't worry, it's
That's
what
the
they
next
want to
time.
wear.
they're happy with it.
Yeah. If they want to wear the frilly dress with the sneakers, let them do it.
Who's being hurt?
I know.
Who's being hurt?
I remember my nephew went through the stage who wanted to wear his costume every day, and when he was with me, he could wear his costume every day. What's the big deal?
Because in our little society, I won't feel shame for my picture the old day, just like a ragamuffin.
Batman suit and Halloween. If that's what you want. That's
He
what
was
you want.
Ninja Turtle all over Belize, middle of the year. It didn't matter to
February,
me.
Valentine's Day, Ninja
Didn't
Turtle.
matter to me. And now I can tease him about it.
All right.
It's important to teach your children about eating healthy.
Yeah.
I know a lot of kids, like the kids I work with, who don't eat fruit. They don't eat fruit. And why don't you eat fruit? I don't like it. So nobody taught them how to eat a banana, how to eat pineapple, mangoes, all these lovely
Delicious
fruits
papaya.
and vegetables. It's so important to teach them to eat healthily.
Yeah.
And prepare healthy meals for them because they're growing.
Yeah.
Right? But our little girls, we want them to know about the different fruits because as they grow up and they get a family, we want them to have like those things from very young because then they'll pass it on to their children. 5 minutes, let's hurry up.
All right.
Okay. The big thing to remember though, in our communities here, we see a lot of young people with missing limbs because of diabetes.
Yeah.
We're having young people having strokes. So diabetes and hypertension is very high in our population.
Yeah.
Very important that our girls and everybody else know about healthy eating. Of
course.
Okay.
Number
An
9.
early learning partner. Parents.
What does that mean?
One of the parents needs to be an early learning partner. You're with your kid, you're doing fun things with them. Legos, Legos are so important because Legos it does things to your brain. You learn spatial ability using Legos.
Yeah.
Did you know that? It's really, and
I probably
don't
didn't
just
play
do
with
it with
enough
boys.
Legos.
Don't just do it with boys. Do it with
girls.
girls. Yeah. Do Legos. Count stars. Go outside with them and lie down and count stars outside. Go do things with them that will teach them. One, it teaches having company with them, but it also teaches them all kinds of things that expands their brain.
Okay.
Okay.
My 2-year-old would look up and see, Daddy, moon.
Yeah.
And there's so many things that she could think just watching the moon.
Yeah.
No, that's lovely.
Go to the library, accompany them to the library. I remember
Yeah.
they used to take me to the library I used to, all the books, as the books came in, I wanted to be the first one to get to those books. Reading becomes so important to the children, and it helps later on in life.
Yeah.
It really does, because she passes that on to her kids.
All right.
Take vacations. Take the kids, you go with them, you take a family
We do that.
vacation. And it doesn't have to be expensive.
I was gonna
it
say,
really
yeah.
doesn't.
It doesn't.
Yeah.
And they don't have a lot of time to go
Yeah.
into that, but
But you can
very
take the bus and you
important.
could go to Cayo.
You can take the bus and go to Cayo.
yes.
You could,
Yeah.
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 You-
There's so many things that we could do
So
right in our
many.
little
Go to Old
community.
Belize.
Yes.
It's close enough. You get
Yeah.
a beach-like experience closer to home.
Yeah.
A vacation is going over to a friend's house and doing something with the entire family as well. And it does wonders for these girls.
Especially those people who have the big pools, the
Yeah.
the pools that they
blow
fill up, the blow up
Man,
ones.
man.
Just go for
Yeah.
it, have fun. Save up and buy one for your family,
Yeah.
you know?
Okay.
Educate a girl and give her a way to be independent. Very important to educate our girls. Read
Now-
to our girls. Read to them when they're babies. They love it.
Yeah.
Little girls love to be read to, and then they will start reading. And when you have another child, they will read to that child.
Yeah.
Okay. Start early, because it becomes a habit if you start early.
Yeah.
Educate a woman and you educate a family. Educate a girl and you educate
Future.
the future.
Wow.
Okay.
I love this, Jenny. Love it, love it.
Educate a girl child and give her a way to be independent.
Yeah. And just let's just clarify here, because I'm so sure some people who are still ingrained in previous cultures
Yeah.
may think that the idea of an independent woman means that you're moving away from some of the norms of marriage and families, but that's not the case.
No, it's not.
It's just making that marriage stronger. It's
Yeah.
two strong people coming together
Yes.
rather than one dependent on another.
Yeah.
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 And that just makes for better possibilities
makes-
for the children, for the future.
Absolutely, absolutely. And honestly, when you invest in that girl child, you invest the time, the energy, and you work with your girl child,
Yeah.
you have two strong people bringing up the children.
Yeah.
It's not just one.
Yeah.
You know, and I'm not beating homemakers,
Yeah.
because when you're at home, you can do the same things with your girls
Of course.
and your boys, but the girl child.
Can I just throw one in? Because
Sure.
it's just one thing that I was thinking of. Watch your language when you talk to girls.
Oh, I know.
And I'm not talking about don't cuss. I'm talking about watch how you are in what you say and how you describe her and how you interact with her, reinforcing all the old time traditions of gender roles and women are cleaners and nurturers and men are adventurers. Just watch your language. It's not about, girls aren't bossy because boys aren't bossy. When's the last time you watched a little boy and said, oh, he's bossy? You don't.
Well, we
But you
said that
do say
about
that to a
girls.
girl.
Yeah.
Yeah. And you don't tell a
So
boy.
true. So true.
You don't tell a boy when he goes on the slide and gets scared, calm down. You tell him go down.
Go down.
But you'll tell a girl, oh, be careful or don't go up there.
Yeah.
You'll hurt yourself.
Well, we start all right when they're born.
Yeah.
We'll take the boy child, we throw him up in the air. We'll take the girl child, and we go coo 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 coo. You know.
I'll tell you even more than that. I think one of the studies that was done in Belize on breastfeeding, more girl child babies were exclusively breastfed than boys.
Than boys.
And so I think it shows something for both sides. I mean, it's more nurturing to girls and less boys. But I think both equally deserve it. But, you don't want to be to the point that you start to enforce these gender norms from so early, and it's harder. And then they go to school and it's reinforced because
Yeah.
you might try your best to keep them open, and go to school and teacher and the system tries to put them back into that.
Yeah.
And that's where they spend a lot of time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you're trying to teach them something at home. They spend 8-9 hours at school.
Yeah.
Then they learn something else. Then what?
Yeah.
So that's why you have to keep reinforcing it at
Yeah.
home. You have to keep reinforcing it. But if you hear those kind of things, you really need to stop with teacher and go talk to teacher. Because yes, in the school system, we still
The girls
reinforce-
sweep, the boys
with
lift the chair,
teachers.
you know. I remember when I was
I-
in school having a huge fight with the principal because I didn't want to do sewing. I wanted to do woodwork. I had no interest in sewing. But because I was a girl, that was the class I had to do.
I remember.
I still ended up having to do sewing. And
I was
still
I was horrible with sewing. I
It was
could
just-
not do it.
They made
Yeah.
cool stuff. They were creating. We
Yeah.
were fixing.
Yeah.
And I from a very young age, I just didn't like. Why did they get to make little horses out of wood, and I'm fixing a
knitting
hem?
something.
I don't get it.
Oh, my God.
But these are things that are reinforced in our
Yeah.
school systems
Yeah.
that we don't realize that we are setting gender. We
Yes.
are
We're-
concretizing the gender
roles.
stereotypes that we say publicly we want to
Yeah.
break free from.
Yeah.
And I think, finally for me, I think what Marlene said is definitely the conversation we're supposed to continue on with. Not because they're nailing and you're knitting means that that's okay for you. If you feel like you want to nail, then go ahead and nail.
And if you want
The
to knit,
conversation,
go ahead
then
and
go ahead and
knit.
knit. The conversation, these conversations must continue so we could break that trend of
Yeah.
girls knitting and boys nailing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, there we go.
And please let's stop with the cake decorating and the other stuff.
Yeah.
I
The
want
boys do mechanic,
Yeah.
and then the girls go to cake decorating, right?
my,
I'd
my-
love to know what's wrong with my own car.
Ah, yes,
Yeah.
yes. Just drive. Know what's going on with your vehicle.
powder puff mechanic.
Speaking of that, finally for me, yesterday, I don't remember where I was, but there was this freight truck coming, and a lady was driving it. I felt so
Love it.
Nice.
Oh wow.
Like, no, lady drive the big truck.
But you know what happened? Listen, let me tell you. My truck, I was driving along and water started coming in. So I stopped in and I bought one of the seals, right? And I pulled over to the side of the road and I climbed up on top of the truck to go put it. 4 guys come running. Miss Jenny, what are you doing?
All right.
Putting some silicone.
Yeah.
Let me have that. And everybody was grabbing at it. And I'm grateful, but I'm perfectly capable of changing a tire. I know how to change a tire.
Yeah.
I know how to silicone my
Your
my
glass.
Yeah.
I know how to change my oil. I know how to pump gas.
Yeah.
There's a lot of us who know how to do this because we were interested.
Yeah.
But teach our
It
girls
may
all
take me
these
longer
things.
to loosen the nuts on the tire,
Yeah.
but I can do it.
I can
and
do
here's
it.
the thing, because I know how men feel about it. It's like, oh, well, you don't. They feel like they're not needed, and listen, you're grateful for anything nice that someone does for you.
Exactly,
But I don't want you to
exactly.
do it because you think I
Can't
do
do
it.
it,
Because I
right.
can. If you want to do it to just be nice, go ahead. Yeah,
Yeah.
fine. Now, but don't do it because you think that you're supposed to and I'm not.
Exactly.
Well,
Sorry.
yeah, we got to stick a pin
Okay,
there.
we just there.
Jenny, we want to thank you so very
Upset
much.
the patriarchy again.
I know.
We want to thank you so very much, Jenny. It was a wonderful time. Then again, dear to home, and it is having that conversation with your children, having that conversation with your girl child. But we need to take a break, and coming up in our next segment,
Stephanie's gonna
International
flag you.
Day
He's just
of
thinking
the
of
Girl
where all the men are
Child.
going to tell us today.
We'll take a break, and we'll be right back with our third segment. Stay tuned.
These are the people who I want to appeal to. Make those little slips. It happens. You have to have a plan to manage your problems effectively. How are you going to do it? Fall off the horse? Jump right back on.